All right, you're welcome to Candid Conversations this lovely Saturday morning. We're here again with another veteran. That's how I'd love to call him, Mr. Tokunbo. Ojekunle, good to see you.
Thank you very much, Ify. Sounding so much like the Ify on radio. Oh, you can't miss the flavor. You can't miss the flavor. Oh, brilliant.
Yeah, we learn from the best, people like you, and I'm grateful.
And I always say, we learn from you people as well.
That's it.
Absolutely.
It's always a learning process.
For life, for life.
So welcome.
Thank you.
Candid Conversation is just a normal chat that we have with those who have been there in the profession, talking about broadcast journalism. We look at what it was yesterday, what it is today, what it's likely to become tomorrow, because so much has actually changed. I'm sure you started out when it was real to real.
Oh, don't remind me. And then sometimes there's no light or the light is fading and you have to continue to use your hand to roll the reel all through. Oh my God.
So we're going to look at all of that.
Yeah.
And
Oh, lovely.
you'll tell us what it was for you.
Yeah.
Can you truly remember the very first time, your very first time,
Yeah.
you know, stepping into the world of broadcasting? Can you put a time on the date and what it was like for you?
I always regarded myself as a very fortunate person because when I wanted to start, when I was about starting, I'd started long before then. At home, I would listen to radio commentaries going on, and in my room, my mom almost thought something was wrong with me. I locked myself up in the room, and I imagine the stadium, and I begin to run the commentaries, imaginary commentaries. So for me, I wasn't too far. You know, sometimes you develop yourself. You know what? I've seen myself in my dream drive the car. And I wasn't taught how to drive a car. FRSC wasn't here, but that's the truth. But let's go away. When it got to my turn, I walked into Radio Lagos and I said, I'm looking for a job. And they said, you know, I was smaller. I was as small as small. You know, so the man looked at me and said, what exactly do you think you can do? I said, well, I saw your advertisement. You're looking for a studio manager. And I think I can manage, you know. And the guy said, do you know what the studio manager does? I said, as a manager, he manages. I will never forget that. And it was late Jide Adekusibe. And he told me years after that was it for him. That who is this guy who is looking up and hitting me back, answers questions and all that. So he said, okay, you know what? Go and come back. Go and come back. In the rain. It was around April of that year.
What year was
79. 79. And then I left. And then he gave me a day to come. And I came. And do you know what he did? He left me sitting down there for 4 hours. In between, Jide went to the island. He went to the island. I sat down there. People were coming to me. Who are you asking for? I would tell them. They said, did he ask you to wait? He was the last one when I came. I said, this man has gone to the island. I said, I will wait for him. He said, you will. I said, I would wait. He said, I should come and wait. Around maybe 5:30 in the evening, Jide comes in and opens the door and looks at me. Oshiwambi? Meaning, you are still here. I said, you asked me to wait. He said that was the second test. Third one was, they couldn't make me an announcer. There was no more vacancy. I said, just make me something here. And I know I will get there. And he said, he looked at me again. He said, okay, there's a space in the commercial department, schedules clerk. That was how I got into Radio Lagos. I was scheduling adverts. And I did that job for 6 months. In those days, there were, of course, no computer, nothing to work with. So the scheduling was manual. So you have a big box, a file, that holds current advertisements that are running on the radio. So you will go through them every day, from day one to day. They give you the dates. So you will have to now plot the ones that are going within the segment of 6 to 8 in the morning. You will plot by yourself, and then you continue to plot. And it was so stressful. But you know, I was enjoying it. Because for me, it was all about just getting to that place. Just getting to that place. And so that was all I did to get in. But I was still eyeing the sacred presentation unit. I was eyeing the studio. I didn't have a business there. I would long to go submit the advert schedule. So I'm going there, and they are busy saying that you submitted now. Be going now. What are you waiting for? And I look at, serious harassment everywhere. Just go. There was one particular announcer then, Larry Ogundimu. He just looked at me. You are here again. Drop that thing on the table. And I said, yes, I know, but I want to see. I want to learn. He looks at me. You want to learn? Is he a school? And and I will leave. But one big opening came. Because from school, I was writing poems. I used to write poems. I love poems a lot. I will write poems. So a producer walks into the commercial department one day and said, I don't know, they want to kill me, or who has poems, or who knows who writes poems. They gave me a program. They just said I should go and find out how it's going to be done. And I looked at the guy like that. I was busy writing. I was very quiet in the commercial. I don't talk when I'm there and I'm working. So I looked at the guy. I said, I have poems. I have some poems. He said, you have poems? He said, yes. Can you bring them tomorrow? I said, yeah, I'll bring. No, can you bring it tomorrow? He said, it. So the following day, I came with 2 small Ghana must go bags. Wait now. I walked into his office, and he said, as soon as he said, Tokunbo, hi. Where's the poem I said you should bring? I said, they are here. He said, where? I said, just take anyone. The guy said, wait. Did you write this? I said, you asked for poems now. Pick the one you want. I dropped this poem and I left. And then he was so eager. The whole of that day, he recorded 5 episodes of a program he had not even started or know how to start. So he started using them. Got voices who are also working on it. They will come read. But there was one day I was very annoyed, and that's when script interpretation comes into form. I learned that without going to school. People will read your poems and will never be able to lift the message of the script. So for me it was, no, don't do it again. He said, but you can't read it by yourself. I said, if I can't read it, I now said to him, I may not know what I want. I remember I said this, but I know what I don't want. And the guy was taken aback. So I said, no, I'm not giving you again. So the transmission of the broadcast stopped again, and the controller of program started. He got 2 queries back to back. So he went to the woman to explain what had happened, how he got the point. I said, where's this person? Who does he work for? He works with Mr. Daramola, is in commercial. In this place, bring him. So I went to see the woman. In fact, when you are going to see a Margaret Thatcher, that was the woman for you. Big woman in the whole of that premises. And I went in with my hands behind. And she said to me, he said, what's your name again? Of course, I knew she remembered. I told her. She said, okay. You're a product of which school? I said, Igbobi College. Okay. I've just been told that you said nobody can read your. But I said, no, ma. I said, no, I didn't say that. And then she looked at Tokunbo, the producer. I said, that was what you told me. Tokunbo said no, but that he had a different angle to it. I said, no, this is it, madam. They don't read it just the way I think they should read it. And he said, oh, okay. You think you can read it? I said, I wrote the poems. I can interpret the poems. Now, she now said, are you reading the poem? I said, no, I'm interpreting the poem. And and then she looked at me again and said, okay, I'm going to pick this up. And she opened one of the books and gave the title. I think it was Golosho or something. I got that. That was to exemplify the life of robbers. It was bad sequencing in Lagos at that time. So I wrote it was Golosho. So he said, okay, this is Go. What did you call this? I said Golosho. She said, okay, now, so you're going to start reading. As she was going to pass the whatever to me, I started reading. I wrote the poem by myself. And I remembered the lines. And then she looked back again. And I continued. And after a while, I stopped. She said, continue. And I didn't know it was an audition. I never knew it was my first audition. And the woman said, You say you work with Mr. Daramola? I said, yes. We're going to do something about that. And she didn't say anything. She said, from today, let Tokunbo read his poems by himself. Give himself credit if he wants. So I got that and I started it. But Mr. Daramola would not release me. And that started another war. Now the second lesson I learned, don't joke with a woman who knows what she wants. The fight was terrible and people started coming to me. Do you know this woman? I said, I never knew her. Then Mr. Daramola would not. But my mom was ill, he didn't allow me to go see her. And I said, what's this? So we came to work one day. It was under Jack Conde's tenure. And there was an announcement from the government. It was called, fresh announcement, that there was a reorganization at Radio Lagos. They now have a new director, programs and commercial. Guess who? Mrs. Oguntayo, the woman. So it meant that plus Ogao, plus this small person, we now report to. It was made on a Friday. On a Monday, Mrs. Oguntayo works. The first assignment she did, she flung open the door to the commercial and said, Tokunbo, pack everything that is yours now. Pack and follow me to the programs department. Everybody was quiet. Kimi, I started to pack everything I had, everything that I had to pack. And she said to me, when we got into the office, she said, your journey in broadcasting has just begun. I will never forget. Say your journey has just begun. And that journey was tough. But man, wow. Young rookie as I was, Ms. Oguntayo's taste was, there must never be a program failure. You must never fail a program. And then she loaded me with 6 programs a week. A young guy, including sports. I was doing poet sports. I was doing innovation. I was doing, what didn't I do? The same poet sports, that became my program. I got it. I was a radio rat. I was sleeping in the radio. My mom was worried for my life. Everything was, but you know what? She knew what she wanted, and that was my grooming stage. I got it all tough for me. It was tough, but I was keeping on. In between, I was winning awards, and I was surprised I win awards. And I'm saying, what have I done? What haven't I done? But production was where I started. That's a key point for me. Before I moved to presentation, it was an error. Sunday afternoon, nobody to read the news in the afternoon, and I was the only one around, and they had prepared the news, and there were 2 press releases from government that must be there. And the lady came to me and said, Tokunbo, you have to do this for us. And I read the news. That was all. I just read all. Monday morning, I got to work. My name was on the roster for those reading news. And I said, what have I done? And I went around, and the woman came to me and said, no, I heard you said they should remove you. They're not removing you. That was your test. You passed it. So you're going to sit down there, and I said, what about the other programs? Said, King, you work here, and you work here. And honestly, it was tough, very tough. Now, I would say that I started the journey 2 steps ahead. Journey 1 is this. You don't go on air if you have not done your necessary double backing. It's absolutely suicidal. You would sit down with the presenter or the head shift and watch this person talk for 3 months. Whatever he's saying, you will be writing. The way he introduces, you write. Different ways of, giving time checks, and ours was worse because we were running both Radio Yoruba and Radio English. So you are expected to give the time check in English and in Yoruba and move on. And, and also introduce programs differently. So that was it for me. And it was really tough. And I did deliberately, I was smart about that. I look back now, I was smart. I made sure I was not structured within the presentation unit. I still held production. So most times they were going to give out assignments within presentation. They always would say, Tokunbo is busy with other things, so this is what he needs to do. And I do that, and I get out, I lead them. So I still saw myself in production. And so, but the day they now, 1, 2, 3 people left. I can't remember what made them leave. And they were looking for hands to fill up. And the head of presentation then came to me and said, Tokunbo, I don't know why. Do you think you are okay in production? I said, I'm very okay in production. And she asked me why. I said, because I have time for myself. I write scripts. I have a target. I have a time. And I will make sure my scripts and productions are ready. So it was I could close at any time and go. I could go to the field and interview people and go from there home. So it was really flexible. But my programs never failed. They were always on time. And so I told the woman, I said, no, I don't think I would. I think I like it the way. She said, I'm only telling you, begin to think about it. I didn't know they had an even plan. They now wanted somebody to present a music program. And then they just said, Tokunbo, can you do this for us? Listen, it's only 4 o'clock on a Thursday in the evening. So start thinking of doing it. And then I said, okay, I was eager, and I did it. It was good. They were enjoying it. Everybody liked it. That's fine. So I didn't know their plan was to gradually move me away from production, which happened one day. And how did it happen? It was easy. I made up my mind I was going back to school. And Unilag was a choice. And getting into Unilag was really tough. Akoka to Ikeja was tougher. The journey, very, very tough. So I realized that the only kind of program or kind of test I could face was that test that will give me the opportunity to work within the shift format. Shift format, of course, means, either I'm working morning, afternoon, or evening. So I took that decision by myself. And the controller programs didn't like it, but when she got to know what my plans were, she said, okay, don't worry, we're still within the same fold. We can allow you to become a full-fledged. That was then my trip to Radio Nigeria Training School began. We were at Ikoyi then. The training school was at Ikoyi, and it was good. I saw a lot. I went through Mrs. Awani. Mrs. Awani was something else. I've never seen anybody with such ears. She's talking to you now, and she's speaking what Charles is reading. Do you understand? And she's still, and as soon as she finishes with you, she's going to, Charles, come back. What did you say about this word? And I'm saying, how did she get to know that Charles was even reading? So I saw the opportunity of being able to master different things at the same time, to do different things at the same time, and still be a master at it. So she was just there. And when he was there, and at the point he was then decided testing the Zachary Mohammeds to come in. Sonny Rabo will come in. We had Sonny, we had Zachary for presentation, that is. Then we had I think 2 other people I'm trying to recollect. I can't really remember the names, but they were really very pivotal to everything that was going on there, and they were strong. The strength was on. And then we had colleagues. Now, in my case, this was it. When I did the basic course, I told them that I would want to go back again for another course, and they said, no, you have to wait for your time. I said, okay, how long will that time? They said, maybe 8 months. I said, no, I must go back. And they said, the only available course again was basic production. I said, please let me go for basic production. So I went back for basic production. And when I got there, I started meeting the likes of, the Idonijes, and the names I was familiar with, I never met. Okay, and it was great. This Ernest Tokunbo taught us commentary, radio commentary. Ben Gariba taught us radio production at its best. You know, we got to know how to put scripts together, write scripts, and and I was being formed. I didn't understand it. So at the end of the day, I said, all the presentation courses I would attend, all the production courses I must attend. And in my story, I think that was one of the brightest things I think I took up, because production is a different field entirely. Production, you are building the story from the table, and you are passing it on. Now, script interpretation is key. You could read Charles's stories in his news and not feel you have read. Not that the story wasn't good. Your mind was not there. And so you will read. And the thing was almost you garbage in and you garbage out. When you read without understanding what you're reading, you have lost the audience. Completely lost the audience. So you need to understand that the only way out is to ensure you think the audience, think the script, act the script, dramatize the script, and give it back just as the way you understand the script.
All right. Let me take you back to what you talked about, patience while waiting. When that your boss had you wait, you went to Victoria Island.
Yes.
And all of that. Is that a trait that you see in young radio presenters today?
No. It's a capital no. And it saddens me. Everybody is in a hurry. Everybody is in a hurry. Again, I cannot blame them. And why I'm saying this is, it depends on the kind of policy, arrangement, or structures that have been built and enshrined whilst these guys were being employed. I can't employ you here now. The first few things I would tell you during integration period is, these are the restrooms. So I don't expect to see you restroom somewhere else that is unpleasant. So it's a culture. Now, they never went through that. They never went through that. By the way, that style, when I began to employ voices on radio, I would use it for voices too. I didn't have anything to do. I would just tell the person, sit down there, and I take a walk into Charles's office, and we are talking. We are really discussing or having a meeting, and the person, and when I come back, where is this person here? Oh gosh, she said she couldn't wait. She has other assignments. I say, okay, no problem. And that's it. That's what she would do whenever she if she gets that job, she's going to do exactly that. And it's a small test. In some cases, it's not like that. And so I give room for that. But in my case, patience works. You cannot jump the gun in presentation. In broadcasting, you can't jump the gun. There is a method you have to follow. And that method, those who thought through it were not silly in thinking through it. They knew why they thought through it. They knew that it would not only, pay you as a person, it would also enrich the station. Because as a presenter, you are not just answering your name. You represent the station. You represent the station in such a way that, in fact, they always would tell you that, hey, Mr. Man, yes, your name comes first, but your station comes ahead of your name. And I would wonder, what do they mean? It means, therefore, that it's your name. Okay? Nobody's going to argue that. But we heard this guy say this rubbish on this station. The station, that impression lasts forever. So I think patience, perseverance works. It works. It's not only that now. It also works for other people as well. I didn't think that I would stay this long. I thought of reading law. I made up my mind that after a while, if I got through all the trainings and all, I would still probably go to read law and all that. But I got to love the job. It was more of a passion than anything else. So I tell a lot of people these days, they are there for either the glamour, and I ask myself, are they making money? That's another thing. But it's for the glamour, the fame. I want to be known, and so I would be. And in thinking like that, you are no longer original. You begin to fake things to impress people. So because you want to stay aloof and you have all the other shenanigans around you still doing the same thing, apologies to the word, still doing the same thing, and nobody is correcting anybody, and that comes to leadership, management, broadcast management. It's almost tougher than parenting.
All right, we'll come to management, of course, ownership and control as it is. Let me take you through the times, of course, when you just started. Tell us about the mistakes that you made. Sanctions.
And the sanctions. And the sanctions.
How you were able to wade through all of it.
The station I got off from is a highly culturalized station in a highly culturalized environment. And I remember that station never for once, shirked its responsibility in ensuring that the names of people, prominent people in the state were pronounced rightly. So we got to a point where I saw a name. I came, middle of the news. I didn't rehearse that. But I just saw the name and I said, what's this name? You know the fixation period and the movement of the eyes, the facades, the saccades. And what it tells you is that when your brain is on go, your eyes are on to the market. That's the training. So you ahead, you can see that and change it before you get there and move on. But I was too good at that. So I was always flowing. So on this particular day, I got there. So by the time I got to one side, it was this person's name, the man's name. And it was Ojekunle Koko. Ojekunle Koko. I will never forget. And I got to Aja. I got the Aja right. In fact, the Aja was sounding a little bit like Aja. Thinking back, it was a bit like Aja. And then I just went on Koko, and I went on, a prominent politician's name. I just read it. And in those days, this is how you know you're in trouble. As soon as the bulletin is over, you look, we have studio manager's cubicle, you have your cubicle. You look across the glass, you see your director of news walking. You see your head of presentation follow. That's how they come in. You see the writer, the journalist, the broadcaster who actually covered the story walking. 3 is enough for you to know there is a problem. Now, to crown it all, director of programs now follows them. Wahala day. So you look at wow, what have I done? What have I said? And they allow all the jingles to go, and before you know it, your door opens and the piling. That man's name. That's how they started. That man's name. How did you pronounce it? Now, that's test number 1. If you now say to them, I'm okay, which of the names you lack presence of mind or you are lying? So they take it as you lack presence of mind, which they call you 0. Then they say, now let's go back to the name. I say, did you ask? No, I couldn't. I didn't have time to ask. The man says, you didn't have time to ask? That one is penalty. 2 weeks you are off. Okay? The third one is, did at any point in time, did you have an idea that there was a name like this, in the news? And you said to yourself, yes, I've always seen this name. Yet you did not practice or rehearse or ask people. You said, no. You are off for 2 weeks. You are grounded for 2 weeks. No matter how good you are, you will serve that punishment. It's a deterrent to other people. And it's not, no favoritisms, nothing. You could be the best of the head of presentation's choice. Yeah? She's going to look at you. They have the one eye, they look at you like this, like, excuse me, what's it? What do you want? 2 weeks, go, don't stay here. I don't know, I can't even function out of here. The woman will be laughing. You can't function out. I said, go away for 2 weeks. You say you can't function. What's my business with that? But that's one error. The other one I did was really a little bit funny. And the guy is late now, bless his soul. And he happens to be a studio manager. And if studio manager so read your news and move on. Fine. So he said he was going to buy oranges. And I said, okay, fine, I'll give you money could you get for me as well? He said, oh, why not? So I gave him money. I can't remember how much. But I remember that he was to give me 3 naira back. Bring the 3 naira back to me. And then I said, at that point, it was about a minute or 2 minutes to the news time at 3. And I said to him, Bode, I called him twice. Make sure you bring that change back. I need my change, even more than the oranges. He said, okay. And knowing Bode took off with the change. He didn't even come back to it. He bought the oranges, dropped the oranges at the gate, told them to bring the oranges in, and took off with your change. And because I was just completely lost at that time, all that, my mind was, I'm going to trek home if Bode does not bring this money. I kept thinking about it. And here was I, 3 o'clock, time is 3 naira. I actually said the time is 3 naira. I gave the station ID, and I said it's 3 naira, the time is 3 naira. And the whole of the place was upside down. Everybody, I didn't know what I had said. I finished the news, it was news summary. I'd finished the news and I took a walk to the corridor, and everybody said, I saw legs coming here. I saw looking. What's happening? What was the time check you gave? I said 3 o'clock. And there came another lesson for me. You never argue with anyone who comes to give you a report of your performance. That is a tough one, but you must never argue. So I went on, I said, how could I have said 3 naira, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, okay, but you said 3 naira. We didn't have the recording facilities in those days, so it was like transient had said it had gone. But everybody could put up a case. This guy said 3 naira. This guy said 3 naira. Until the general manager himself came up and said, just casually, what were you thinking of when you said 3 naira? He was not on the station. He was somewhere else at that time. So he said, what were you thinking about? That's actually, it occurred to me that, was it 3 naira? I said, but of course they had even typed my letter. They didn't argue with me. They typed the letter. So for every problem you gave them, it was a real problem. You are going to get double of the share. Because they cannot, everybody in the whole world will be laughing. Oh, this is 3 naira. And to worsen the case for me that day, but they didn't come back with the 3 naira. So I passed the night there. I couldn't go home. So, it's one after the other. It comes in. But we have presence of mind. We lack presence of mind. These days, you write a story. If Charles in his room writes a story, and in error, the typist, the secretary, puts something together. Even nowadays, no secretary. It's the same journalists who are putting this. Write something like that about the president of Nigeria, Dr. Muhammadu Buhari, today, this age and time. Don't be surprised. Guys we have on air now, guys, with due respect to you, somebody amongst you will read that thing and never knew he read that thing. So our minds must always be on the job. Broadcasting is difficult. Radio work is difficult. When you say it's 2 o'clock, everybody is checking the time to know whether it's really 2 o'clock. Go to the banking halls. Go on the line. Stay behind. Let the radio be on. Do your check. And you find out that for every time there's a time check on that station, people are busy doing it. When you give an error, when the time check is an error, you find people still correcting or adjusting to the error.
Now that you've talked about
that's believability.
Let's take a look at this as it relates to people who are on air, whether radio or television. Of course, as broadcasters, we must have this time.
Yes.
What is the ideal time to sign off a program or sign out on a program and maybe sign on another program. So I'm talking about a presenter who should knock off on a show and another is coming on. Tell us what happens
at that time. It was a taboo to allow your program to run into the next hour. Even if what you have after that program is like announcer's choice. We used to have announcer's choice. 11 o'clock to 11:15 is announcer's choice. And your program should end at 11. It doesn't say it has to end at 11. You sign up before. If it's a 30-minute program, in fact, whether it's 30 minutes or not, you have 3 minutes. Ditto. That is, by the 27th minute of that hour, you are actually out of the studio. You are out of the studio. That is the calling. And then what you expect is this. Because it's been enshrined that it's 27 minutes you must run, the voice or the person who is working, who is on duty, knows that he or she has about 3 minutes to fill up. So he or she has done her own selection of what would be either station idents will be used or programs promo. Programs promo can be used to fill up, but you do not have a right to say because it's 30 minutes is my time and you use it up. You don't use it up. And the same thing comes for people who have come to advertise on your station. Because you say it's 60 seconds advert. Yes, fine, 60 seconds advert. But please make sure at the end of the day that you are actually running 59 seconds for me. Because anything could happen. You do the 50 seconds, in your mind is 59 seconds, and then you move on. Or a sponsored program, because I'm paying 15 minutes. Whole lot 15 minutes. I have to give you 15 minutes. You cannot cut me off. I will cut you off because you are not entitled. But what happens in those instances? The commercial department would have placed that in an MOU or document of agreement with any agency or any individual producer coming, independent producer coming. This is what you're entitled to. Your 60 minutes is actually 57 minutes. Your 30 minutes is actually 27 minutes. And you build it up like that. That is the way it works for. It honestly works. But what you have these days is because of there's laxity. There's this fluid feel that people want to have. Yes, I want to talk in and sign off and hand over to you. You could still hand over to me. I could still hand over to you. In any way we do it. And as I hand over to you, and by the way, handing over is just a few seconds. 10 seconds, you are off, you're gone.
What is the place of the banter while handing over?
Fantastic. Now, this is it. A banter is of two types for me. A banter of, I'll banter you gradually into taking over a particular program. I could, okay? But when a banter goes beyond that for me is when if he has a music program, a 1 or 2 hour show coming up at 11 o'clock, and I am with Ify, and if he could use me, okay, to engage the listener. If he could say, Tokunbo, you are not going yet. What are we going to do to this hold up at Falomo? It's unbecoming. Do you know it took me 3 hours to get here? Do you understand? Now that is banter with some purpose. Banter loses the steam when there is no message. Banter loses it when it's all about what did you have for breakfast this morning? You understand? Banter loses it when you are asking me flimsy questions. No, but banter is heavy when there's something to be discussed. And by the way, you are discussing with somebody who is also knowledgeable. Yes. Because in between bantering, if people aren't careful, we let out a lot of misinformation. We let out a lot of, can this be true? No, avoid this. Can this be true? Make sure what you are going to talk about to lead Tokunbo and Ify, to make Tokunbo be part of Ify's takeoff, okay? Just let it, and please just say it and drop it and let her go on. And when she's going on, she won't even refer to it because she's made a a case out of it, and she's going to a normal program. My guest today is blah blah, and then she moves on with her show, and you are moving on. But we don't. It's banter is another specialized form of radio broadcast. It is specialized form, and it was brought in. It was fake initially. It wasn't part of us before. We grew up with finish your show, get out. If it takes over, does our show, get out. So it was all robotic in my sense. But when bantering came, it was good, but people misused it. They didn't do it properly, and so people will always get into a situation where they lose the trend of where you are coming from and where you're going.
Right. Okay, let's rewind to your most memorable moments of radio.
Most memorable moment.
Most memorable.
Ify, it is very, it's very bad for a radio voice not to be prepared. And in preparation, it tells me that whether you like it or not, you must know everything. Knowledgeability is strong in the theme of in broadcasting. So I started I featured a program once. It was called The Beats. In fact, two memories for me. One was Be My Guest, but The Beats was more important at this point. And for The Beats, it was a program designed to, yes, again, talk show, but there were issues to be discussed. So we would always go for the people who had knowledge in this area. So the topic on this particular day was tithing. It was in the 80s. And we had an imam on that program. We had, of course, a reverend pastor. Then we had, I had a very naughty producer. He brought me then somebody who was very knowledgeable in Ifa mythology. So I had 3 people there. And he shares these things with me 24 hours or 48 hours. Our guest on The Beat, it's a Saturday show, by the way, would be A, B, C, and D. This is the topic and all that. And I said, okay, fine, I love this, Titan. So what happened? It was just the last minute. Somebody had given me a book on Krishna. Somebody gave me a book on Krishna. Somebody gave me a book on Jehovah's Witness. I still have those books, by the way. Somebody gave me a book on Jewish, what's it called now? I can't remember, but it had to do with explaining what the Jewish issues were. So I picked that. Then there was a last one somebody gave me on Ifa and its mythology. But 24 hours at the time, I was always off on Fridays, ready for Saturday. So I picked this thing up. And I just said, how would I be in the midst of people and I don't know about what they do? Then I had a book on Quran. I had a book on the Quran given to me by a best friend of mine. Then I had all these books. And so I went to the Quran, and something on tithing came in form of doing zakat or something, giving people alms, giving people things, I saw that. Then I went to Jewish interpretation. I read a bit of that. Okay, so this is what it means when you say you are cutting 10% off, So Jesus actually did that. But Jesus also said, give to Caesar what is Caesar's. Okay, so and then for the Krishna, it was a little bit silent, but it was still, but I had a knowledge about this. So I went to the studio and we were talking. And then the first man said, he actually quoted from the things I had read and started to talk. The next one followed. I pushed from that one, pushed to the other one. The man continued. So at a point in time, it was not for me to now try to give a summation of one. But the thing is this, people should learn from this error. Do not speak from an angle of position of authority. on an issue like that. People opinionate so much so that you begin, because we were brought up to give tithes. So I could easily stand up, I stood up there and begin to convince you, no, this is what the Bible says. Of course, I also know a bit of, this is what the Bible says about tithing and everything. But I kept it in, and I grew until I got to that point where, so I said everything I wanted to say. And I realized they all kept quiet and they were looking at me. They didn't say a word. And then the program ended, and that was it. But the Reverend Pastor, Reverend Father, asked me to please sit down. And he said to me, he said, I know what you have done. You've prepared hard. But you know what you did that wasn't good? You came here to tell us that all our opinions are rubbish. He said, for the first time, I felt so tiny. And I was looking at him. You made me feel so tiny. You made me feel I didn't know my job. You made me feel I didn't know even about the theological aspect of my creed. And I said, how, sir? Because you came to show off. Meanwhile, when you showed off, you showed a lot, you exposed yourself. I never forgot that. And that was the first step of me understanding, Ife, that when it comes to interviewing people, they are making the story, it's not you. The interview is all about the interviewee. Make a way for the interviewee to blossom. Let the person step out and say, okay, where there are disagreements could be probably in dates or references where you could say, oh, I thought it was in this year, and let the man continue his story. The next week I didn't go on that program, I deliberately didn't. Nobody asked me not to. A week after I didn't, because I kept on chewing and hitting myself. What have I done? What have I done? It's not right.
Or you learned from that.
Oh, that I'm talking to you now. How many years after? I learned from it. I learned from it. I did.
All right, let me go to some of the messages. Of course, these messages, they're actually pouring in. By the way, Mrs. Rosalie, she says,
wow.
Tumishe Kuku.
Okay.
Boss for life.
Thank you, Tumishe. Thank you.
And people are watching from everywhere. Okay, this one is from Don Pedro Ojekunle.
Okay, wow.
Giving his love. Maria Lassandi also shouting out to you.
Thank you.
There's Ralph Edison.
Okay, Edison.
Roslyn Oguro says, another lively conversation on our profession. Well done, Tokunbo. Well done, Ife. And Don Pedro says, Tokes, where is Yinka Paramole?
Yinka Paramole. That's a very good question. She's not been in the circle for a while. The last time we had, she was out of town, and I'm still believing that she's probably, doing well where she is. She's traveled out of town, and I do not know where exactly she is.
Okay, Koliade Odutola from the US says, how did you come about Mr. T? Okay, that tells the tales. When did you first use it? And the second question is, what was life like in the old radio Lagos under BC Lawrence?
Oh, wow. That's quite, this is a prophet, Kole is a prophet because he should have heard us before this show. Let me quickly say something about Kole. Kole, oh boy. Kole shouldn't really be in journalism. I think Kole, if I'm wrong, tell me, he must have studied botany or something. But Kole would wake up with us. The program was called Good Morning Lagos in those days. Kole would wake up with us 5 a.m. We'll go pick Kole in the morning because we had a segment that Kole was handling for us. And he did, it's so interesting this day. I look back, he's a prof now, by the way. When I traveled, we got together. And, it's interesting the way things are. And so for Kole to have taken me back, Kole was a member of the house. Under B's law, we call him B's law, it was discipline at its best. Now, I'm going to say you quickly, and I don't think Kole will remember this. Opposite Radio Lagos, then we had a small place we go chill and eat and drink. And I know everybody goes home. But you must go there after your shift. Yeah. So, you don't go there after your shift. You now decide to follow the guys who had closed. And B's law would also be there. He would buy people drinks, whatever. But B's law knew that you, Tokunbo, you are supposed to read the news at 3:30.
And you're there.
And you are there. There's no problem. He's not going to stop you. But you are going to be there and he's going to be saying what he's saying. And everybody will be raking, and then he's looking at the time, he's not saying anything to you. He's looking at the time, he's not saying anything to you. And then one day, one of us went there, forgot exactly about the news, had gotten himself 1 or 2 bottles and all that. And Bislo was shocked, completely shocked. Okay, that you mean you are reading? You mean you are on the news? And you spend the whole time. So he didn't say anything. But when it was past 3:30, Bislo got up, excused himself, and left. He went. He went back to work and told his secretary to call the admin people to give Mr. So-and-so a query to explain why he wasn't there to read the 3:30. He knew he didn't read the 3:30 news. He knew. So you would get back and you see, you said, no, Mr. Lawrence can't give this directive because you are together. And the sole player said, no, because you are together doesn't mean anything. And the following day, he's coming hard at you. Discipline. So anytime you are going there, say to yourself, Tokunbo, am I on duty? Tokunbo, have I closed down for the day? Have I handed over my shift? Those are the things he will take notes of. And when you have found one thing, he'll dealt with. Bislo was good. Bislo brought into us the culture of understanding that radio is not aloof of its environment. Radio is part of its environment. And Radio Lagos did that in those days. Our jingles in those days smelt it. They expressed it. They were all jingles that would come and you would listen to them and know this is a people-friendly jingle. And we had all the relevant divisions set up. We had programs from Ekpe, we had programs from Ijebu Awori, we had programs from Lagos, Iksaleko. All this and it was critical of the names, by the way. I got those things it was critical of the names. Lagosian names are key. You cannot be here and sounding Alade and all that. By the way, a lot of people didn't know that the market on Ikeja is not Alade market. It's Alade market. Alade market. It was named after architect Fola Alade. Radio Lagos we got the names right. We make sure Egu is not Egu. It's not Egu language. It's Ogu language. Ogu language. You learned that from the basics. You learned that from the masters. But, no. There's a difference. Radio Lagos still maintains Echo FM offshoot of the strength of Radio Lagos, particularly. So you had both. When we were having complete radio English Yoruba being shared on Radio Lagos, Echo FM came and said, no, okay, let's give English its value. And so you had people, and by the way, the structure is so beautiful, just a passage separating both of them. You leave this studio, you enter this studio, and you're lovely, you're fine. So you would, but generally things have lost value over time, Ife. Things have. But when it comes to cultural, promoting the culture of the people, I think Radio Lagos did a wonderful job. We were not missing the point at all. We gave respect to the culture. We had a program called Our Town. And it was going through all the urbans, all those structures and all things. These things were just great,
I want us to fast forward to your time.
Thank you, Ray. Thank you, Roslyn. Ms. Oguro, thank you so much. Because Ms. Oguro's, we were just next door neighbors, so to speak. Apart from that, not we were living. My parents' house were at 769 Ogunlano Drive. Then Ray Mike Kwachukwu's studio was next door. Later in my quadrille. So we had everybody. It was a mecca. So I got to know a lot of people, BC and Co. They were all there, all 24/7. So we all watch out for each other and so on, yeah.
Let's fast forward to Radio Continental.
Wow.
One of the programs.
Yes. Yes.
Be my guest.
Ah.
How did you come up?
How did we get there? 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 You know, be my guest. Okay, look, again, Radio Lagos days, I was able to, with the help of a few other people, to realize that interviewing was really my strength. Because I noticed that we were all doing different things, different ways, but still doing the same thing. You know, we're doing different things, different ways, but we're still doing the same things. So for me, it was an opportunity to, you know, go into the life of people, to study them, to do what they were cool, you know, making them talk. You know. So initially we were looking for people with very good stories, stories that would change their heart, not only touch their heart, change their heart. And we sat down one day, Mayo Kunwa Kpoterabo, Ayo Makinde, then we had one or two other people. And I remember now, they were of course intense about what we could. So they did something. They said, okay, why don't we bring these people on and just have a chat with them? And I said, yes, but how? What would make it different from what the others were doing or how they were doing their things? It was not something I could pinpoint, but it was more about what was in it for the people who were listening. I wasn't thinking about myself, but it was for the people. So we decided to say, okay, let us identify with a bit of what I'd done in the past. And what I'd done in the past was all about, you bring people in, people talk about themselves, they talk about the government, they talk about politics, they talk about the interest areas and the encompassing, and then they move on. So I said, no, we're not going to do that. We're going to look at the people with set minds. Okay, the set mind is this. If we'll get the guest come, before the guest comes, he or she would have filled a form. In that form, or in those forms there in those days, you would have exposed yourself to your best friends, the names of your best friends, the teacher you went to school with, and all that. So it was huge. So before the day you will come, we would have identified one of your best friends, one particular, who probably hasn't seen you in a long while. And then we stand the person by. Look, we are doing this. It's going to be, you know, a shot for this person. So please stand by. We just have to call you with time. So we had that as an extra something. And we usually would live with that at the end of it. So you are busy telling me about your life and all. And then I would deliberately also bring you back to your school days and your friends. Then you would mention this particular person who we discovered was your really best friend, but now lives in Canada. You get it? And you say, well, I miss this person. We are one and two together. We are doing that. Okay, fine. And then the show continues. And then at a point in time, we just say, oh, there's a call waiting for you. And you're shocked because I told you that it's a program without telephone calls. So, and you are shocked. And all of a sudden we say, well, pick your call and say, pick my call. No, it's for you. This person wants to speak with you. And then you go online and you pick a and he says, or she says, he or she's going to call you by the nickname. So it's just like, Ify or something. And you say, and she says, Ify, and you say, Ify. Wow! Bolale, you know, and I said, yeah, Bolale, all the way from Canada, you know, and it's excitement. And we're looking at you, and you know, it's so big story. It was real, natural. So we started doing that. And it caught on. It was beautiful. We had people who survived plane crashes. People who survived plane crashes, people who survived, they lost their whole family. The woman would, you know, and they would come into town. And the day they're in the town, they're on the show. You know, people call them and say, hey, we love you and all that. And I saw that one of the very best things ever you can do as a broadcaster to satisfy yourself, is to think people connected issues. Let people tell their stories. Let people learn from other people's stories. You can't miss it. In the old Radio Lagos days, we had a program, Mama de Mama. Olubumi Olusoya or something. I'm sorry I missed the name. The woman started from Radio Nigeria. They called her program Omobokun Kinyo. I'm telling you, that program was what? And the woman would always have a story every day, every week. And everybody's glued to the radio then. Everybody glued to the radio, trying hard to pick what the woman was saying. So I saw stories helping people. I saw stories bringing people together. And it was good. And Be My Guest started as just one weekend show until we started having different general managers who came. One in particular came and said it must be every day. And I will never forget. I went to him and said, this thing can't be every day. He said, no. It's such a good program. And I said, okay, so I don't end up arguing with my new boss. So I'll go back, call my team together. No, Mr. T, why should you? No, it can't happen. Why should you do that? Why should you agree to that? I said, look, for me, let us see what we can do. And then it became, I wasn't satisfied. So we stopped, we picked it again, we stopped, we picked it again, we stopped. Before I left, really, we had plans to take it onto TV. TVC was interested, and we were making plans for it, but we still, I don't know, is going on. Yeah.
Now tell us that there's a likelihood that Be My Guest will come back to us.
Now, listen.
Whether online or on TV.
Okay.
Let's know.
If you're watching me, anywhere you're watching me from, I respect you a lot. But I have never in my life met a more persistent broadcaster who would make sure you commit yourself, knowing the value of the problems you are going through and the antecedents you are coming from. Ify is one. And it's a very good question, Ify. I open up the books now, and I'll tell you that something is going to happen very soon. Because by the time we closed shop on the program on Radio Continental, we ended up having about close to 800 people we had interviewed, and the number kept going. When I left, a lot of people kept writing me on a personal note, bring this back. Okay, if you're not bringing this back, play those things back. Play those things back. I remember a hot selling one we had was with Chief Christopher Kolade. It was awesome. The man he just came in one day and he told Mayokun and I, he was close, friendly with Mayokun, tell Tokunbo that I'm only here for this particular edition. And I said, okay, sir. So we started the show and we continued the show. And we had to end that program, that first. And I said, well, we'll try hard to convince. I was speaking to the audience. We'll try hard to convince Chief Christopher Kolade if he can grace this show again. Dr. Christopher Kolade, we can grace this show again so we can continue from where we stopped. And he said all of a sudden, okay, Tokunbo, you think you are smart. He was still on the show. You think you are smart. Okay, fine. Finish. We'll do that. We'll do another one now. I'm waiting. I'm going to wait. And I'm going to show you I can do it. He did 4 episodes. And those episodes, they became teaching materials for students at the Pan-African University. They came down to ask for those tapes because we did everything we could on leadership. And we built it from his days as a broadcaster, his days as an educationist, and the problems he went through.
All right, so much we've talked about. Opportunities are quoted in very unusual circumstances. How do you think that young presenters can identify the opportunities before them?
Let me explain this, and I'm going to be a little bit detailed, but I'll try to hurry up because of time. When opportunities come, sometimes you don't see them. It is not that you are not familiar with your terrain. You are simply locked down by that vision you thought you had. And you don't see the opportunities when they come knocking. So you are just oblivious of them. They are there, but you can't see them. In my few years of experience, I've learned to be very free, very open about the things I do and the way I do those things. I know that for every time, every single word I pronounce or some sense I try to make on radio is not coming back to me. It's coming to people. People will coach you 25 years time. Okay, you may not even remember. So it's the mind that picks the opportunities and sees the opportunities are minds that are very flexible. They are not hard. They are not in their cocoon all the time. You are free. You hear people talk about what you have done. You see people, respect a bit of the views, but you do the same to them. My very good example of opportunities, I'll let you know, happened one time when I was at Radio Lagos, and I walked into the director's office then, or the manager's office then, and I saw this friendly white face, a British, the girl to me was British. He sat down there, and as I walked into Jide's office, I looked around, I saw him, and I said hello to him. Before Jide could even introduce me, I said to him, this is my name, and he looked at me and said, oh wow, I like this. He said, what do you do? I said, I work. I didn't say I work with him. I said I work for him. He's my slave. He's my slave driver. Now the guy laughed, and he looked at Jide and said, who is this? And he said, well, that's Tokunbo. They call him Mr. T. And others said, oh wow, okay, fine. I like you and everything. And Jide had to leave to take the news, and I sat down with this guy, and we were friends. I didn't know that Nick Fishwick, okay, worked at the British Council in Nigeria. And I didn't know that why he came to see Jide was there was one form left for any broadcaster to attend a 3-month course in the UK. I didn't know. So I left, and Jide comes back to me almost at midnight and said, Tokunbo, can I see you? Come. And I walked in. He said, he needs to see you. And I said, oh, I said, how would you love to be part of a 3-month training in UK? And I said, 3-month training in UK, whatever for? And he looked at me again. I didn't know he was enjoying what he was. As far as I was concerned, I was just being myself. Lesson number 2, in every situation, be yourself. Be yourself. That opportunity came. I went for it, and I will never forget. Because in the 80s when I visited, I saw computer for the first time. I saw that we were not using reel-to-reel. They were not using reel-to-reel. I saw Hilton File. I was attached to Hilton File. Hilton File could, if he wanted, broadcast from his house. And I didn't get the picture. I was confused. The thing that caused it to me was bad. By the time I came back, it was like everybody was walking backwards. I contemplated resigning twice. Fishwick came to visit me. After that thing, I said, Tokunbo, I know there's a culture shock around you. And I said, how did you know? He said, no, I can feel it. What's your plan? I said, I would want to go back there. And he laughed. He said, you know what? No, don't go back yet. They still need you around here. Just sit down. They still need you around here. Because I was just I couldn't understand it. I said, oh, we have been doing broadcasting in tears. In tears. We had a small generator by Radio Lagos block. Tiny generator. When the light goes off, oh my God. When the light goes, I remember those times. Anybody listening, you will remember. When the light goes off and we move to the generator, the bulbs in the studios don't work. So the generator was just to power the machines. That's when your reel-to-reel begins to drag. The message begins to, and then you would have to put because it's your program, you would have to put your finger to now, do that thing in simulation. You'll be very, very unfortunate if that thing started dragging when it was about 5 minutes into the program, because you are going to do this for the next 25 minutes or 20 minutes, and you must make sure it was bad. We were reading with candlelights. I've read before, the microphone was hanging like that, and then when it got to a point, I don't know what happened to the microphone. I was in the middle of the sentence, and the thing snapped, and the microphone went this way, and then I will wait for it to come back. When it's coming, I continue to read. When it's going back, I have a prestige pause. When it comes back, I couldn't hold it. Those were the times we saw broadcasting at its best. And they were the times when you would wish to own your station and do it the proper way.
Yeah, it brings us to some of the things that we've talked about, and which would, of course, everyone will ask that question. How did we get here?
How did we get? Please go and get your copy. How did we get here?
Let's talk about it. Some of those mistakes you've highlighted.
Yeah. If you know what, the very, very interesting thing. If you pass through the same school, you probably didn't pass through the same experience.
Yeah.
But what your book has done is anybody, not whether worth the salt or not the salt at all, picks this and goes through the contents, would have each of these happen with him or her at a particular point in time. And we have examples to show. So it's a highly recommended book. It meant you walk through it too. Okay, look at you saying that I'm very famous. That one till today happens. For almost about half of my years in this business, I have engaged, I've been involved in looking for people, searching for people who could do this job, employing people who could do this job. Question I ask people: why do you want to do this job? And believe you me, they say, I want to be known. I just like the job because I want people to know me. Even when I have to go and do search for television stations to recruit on behalf of TV stations, I know I have a very good face, and I know the camera would like my face. I want people to see my face. And I'm saying, are you kidding me? Was that the reason why you said? And it is the truth. And they don't lie. The kids of today don't lie. Oh, no. Let me explain it. They do not lie. The truth comes before they imagine that they should have lied. So when they drop that truth unknowingly, they now begin to add some lies into it. But really, they tell you the truth from there. Look at it now. You're asking me, I know everything. I know everything. True. You are expected to know a bit of everything. But at I know everything, you're arguing with your caller. Somebody is calling in. The person wants to be part of your program. And the person is telling you, I experienced this, or blah, blah, blah. And you are telling the man or woman to himself, no, it could never have happened like that. Madam, think now, how can it happen? What I went through at Balogun Market, they sold this for me for this. And you are telling me it couldn't have happened. Were you there? And then you are not friendly. Don't show off that you know. I learned the hard way. And even there are so many other things. You look at always the lead anchor. When you come in as a co-anchor, know you have a lead anchor. Don't try to shake that lead anchor off the table. It doesn't work. Play along with it. But your lead anchor must also know what to do and how to involve you in the discussion. Your lead anchor can lead, but cannot be ahead of the guests. So when you're ahead of the guests, there's going to be rancor. Everybody's going to be, and you say, well, if it is unfair. Money is everything. You're putting money is everything. Yes, money is everything. But not all things bring money. If you are a broadcaster and you think money first, and you think you see money first, that's not a business for you. You know why? Because you need to show what you have. I've seen people, because of their good performance on air or off air, they got good plumbing jobs. And it was just about, we just like your men. Will you come and work with us? And I love broadcasting. No, we're not saying you shouldn't do. By the way, you're going to be in charge of the corporate affairs. So you're still in broadcasting, so to speak. You have friends there will need to use. And people get this job. People get this job. Today, what makes money more difficult is leadership. Is management. Management of broadcast stations is equally as weak as the quality we are talking about. Broadcast managers should stop sleeping and wake up. I'm sorry if I'm hitting you. I'm very sorry if I'm hitting you. You see, the thing is, no, you see, the owner is the owner. He has an idea. You are the broadcast manager. Expectedly, you are the man who should know everything. Now you now know everything, and the man begins to tell you, that person must be on the air. It's my sister's daughter. My sister's daughter. She must no. Train her. Make her read the news. She must read the news. And then you bring the person because you don't want to run foul of your boss's whatever. And you bring the person, and the person is, and the whole of the team looks at you, Oga. Is anything wrong? They're telling you, Oga, are you normal? They don't want to use it exactly. How did this person come on? You know, because it's going to lower the standard, the quality, and it will affect the performance of the other people. Well, they can't do anything and be damned. And this person begins to, get so cantankerous, you can't even work within a team. The team lead is so bad. Your guy wants it like that. The owner wants it like that. The owner wants it. Owners, please leave them alone. You have given money. Let them rule. Let them run the place. Or you look at yourself and think he's a white man who can come and read the place better than black. And you bring the man down. And the man begins with, I don't understand it. Racist tendencies, expressions, looks at you and remembers where he's coming from or how he got there and begins to treat. And those things you now said, you've advised this white man. He doesn't do. When you leave, he now begins to do them. What does that mean? It means there's something good in us we don't see. We don't value ourselves. I get passionate with this thing. I'm sorry. I'm very sorry. Because we keep blaming the guys who are working. We blame the innocent girls and guys who are working. But we fail to understand that leadership itself is foggy. Leadership is foggy. People should understand you got no business there. Don't go there.
How did you get
Can you imagine? Look at it. Management is the key. Oh no, honestly. Oh, this is good. It's a good book. It addresses all, talks to all, and lets everybody understand that this is just the beginning of what good book is. I tell a lot of people, not all good books are good. Not all books are good. Some books you pick, you don't find the quality, but this book, you pick it. Whether you are in it or not, it talks to you. Because once a broadcaster understands that he or she is talking to many people, okay, they begin to sit up. And by the way, you don't talk to many people on radio. You address just one person. So think that through, and it's the best. This is a good book, Fifi.
There's a chapter that talks about people who never want to leave their duty post. I think someone else might just come and do the presentation. What is the benefit of taking a vacation? Leave your duty post for a while.
I tell a lot of people, you can't say you are irreplaceable. It's not possible. You can't say you are irreplaceable. It's not possible. You can't say you are a custodian of all that has to do with knowledge. It's not possible. And look at it this way, Ify. I tell people, when you have been too long on a station, doing the same thing on that station, Ify, you become colorless to the listener. You become colorless, empty to the listener. Because they now understand you. Before you say good morning, they know where you are going. You have a way you carry people, you have a way, and they can predict you. So this is another thing broadcast managers should know. Encourage people to, after a long period on a particular job, okay, begin on a task rather, begin to think of moving on from that task and doing other things, and allow people, other people to take over. There was a program I was doing, Radio Continental, I was running it. They called it Box of Goodies. Box of Goodies for children. And we're doing it. Producer Mayoko, brilliant work she did with that program. But you see, all she needed me to do was just to come with that fatherly or uncle face and begin to talk to them so you can understand the children. And it worked. We got sponsors and everything was going there well. Then all of a sudden, I realized that there was something wrong somewhere. Not that we weren't doing it well. I just realized that by that time I was in charge of the station. I was doing a lot. So I said, no, let's see what we can do. When I told Mayoko said, no, sir, you are not going to leave this program. I said, no, Mayoko. And it was a tough time because for about a few weeks, she would just come and greet me good morning and she would go. So she stopped talking. I knew what I was doing. I told her, I said, no, we have to develop new people. Let people people don't understand it. Even on television, you see the same face of the man doing the same political program. And you ask him, what is new about this man anymore? And people, when it comes on, people change the station. There's something wrong. There's just something wrong. So my mind is, you're right. People should learn to live, learn to move, accommodate people because you do not know everything about the program. It's your program. Where you are you going with it? You can't go with it, I'm sorry. You cannot. In some cases you cannot, you're tied to it, but allow other people, help them. The first time this lady was going to handle Box of Goodies, I was in the studio with her. And we were pushing her, do this, say this. And by the second week, she got a hang of it and was moving all around. So for me, it's we need to know. A lot of people are selfish. They're very selfish. They're selfish. They just want to be seen all the time. They want to be seen all the time. No, it doesn't work that way.
All right. As we round off, I won't let you go without sending you this. Ruben Gashu says, this really captures our online discussion of how we got here. This conversation with WT has really thrown light on this, and he says, thank you very much. Olani
Thank you.
More of all time.
Oh, really?
Okay.
She's in UK. She's in UK.
All right, so
at the moment. Oh, thank you.
I know some of us are your foot soldiers. Who else are you mentoring? Who are you mentoring? Are you writing a book?
It's difficult when you think you are a very good interviewer and you meet a very stubborn you meet a very stubborn interviewer who is tougher. You want me to ask all these questions. What am I doing now? I am into training. Before the lockdown, I've been into training. Many companies, organizations want training. They want to learn how to pass better information through communication. They want to get to know exactly how their corporate outfits can do better within the market. And some stations, by the way, also want their stations, their on-air people to look good and speak better. Few out of Lagos, in Kano, Ilorin, Ibadan, and they really come for you and all that. But consequence upon the lockdown, what we've tried to do, a couple of my friends, and by the way, I want to say good one to Faj, Femi Akintunde Johnson, if you know him, is so relentless, so honestly relentless. So Faj would allow a training, online training, very, very, very affordable. And people log in. So I take presentation and I take public speaking. He does writing skills. And you'll be shocked about those things they teach you. The things you use every day that you don't know extremely off the mark, can't use them, so they use them. So I have the opportunity of doing that regularly. I have the opportunity of doing that regularly. Then, of course, there is, I love online radio. And that brought me close. I have a strong affiliation with Boom Radio. Boom Radio, by the way, if you don't know, go on Google, search Boom Radio. And that's one of the online stations, if you permit me, to say that they think radio, terrestrial radio.
The one where
Yeah.
you folks have a drink and
Oh, yeah. Oh, that one. Yes. It's a Shola Rogers program station. It's good. And the content on that station is really good. We get a lot of recommendations from people outside Nigeria. And I'm shocked because the content is almost like if you are listening to a radio online, real terrestrial online radio. So this one is that's why I keep my time. I meet a lot of people. And when it comes to mentoring, I must tell you this, mentoring has taken a new dimension. And I'm sure you fall into that category. You can see them. They've taken into a new dimension now. And what it does is this. My mentor should be able to get me a job. My mentor should be, if you're laughing, my mentor should be able to also answer those needs, peculiar needs that I come about with every day. I come to see him somewhere, and he should be ready to pay for my transportation because he knows I don't have it. I'm serious. So what we have done in terms of mentorship is I have stopped using the word mentor for people who have known. I've just stopped it. So I just say, oh, I have a younger colleague, a friend, who, by the way, I also learned from. And they are lost. No, no, don't use mentor. Because mentor is heavier than you can imagine.
So are you writing a book? I'm interested.
Oh yes, if he,
Ojekunle,
if he,
about him, what he's done,
oh yes, if he,
and the things that
if he, yes, I am writing one. I've started it. So today there, I'm in the 4th chapter. I don't know when it's going to end. But I'm taking my time. And what really I'm loading into it, Ify, is how not to do things. How not to do things. If you worked this long in broadcasting your years, you're living, you have learned how not to do things. You become a better person, both on the job and in life. Broadcasting is not about you just opening the microphone to talk. Broadcasting is a life teacher. Broadcasting teaches you how to live amongst people. Broadcasting teaches you how to cultivate a good cultural habit among the people, because the only thing you are answering to the people is the people. That's the only thing you are answerable to. You talk to them, it is about the people. It's about their needs. It's you thinking for them. And as a senior colleague has always said, is you to set the agenda of their thoughts for them. And when you do that, you do it freely, with no reservations. Just be open about it. Then you get it back. I have learned a lot. Honestly. And so what you'll find in the book are things like that. How to be very patient for your time. How to be very, very extremely patient when it comes to making a move in life. And above it all, it just tells you that you are as good as your last performance. Better than the performance you're thinking about. You're as good as your last performance. You are as just good as your last performance. So.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you too. Kole asked me, before you go, the tea. How did I come about that tea? I think he asked me. It's just a simple tea. Tea is for Tokunbo. So we wrote some lines. I made it holy, and I use it regularly on my live music show.
Thank you.
Thank you so too. Thank you.